I stood there in absolute shock, staring at my laptop screen as the numbers came into focus. $7 million. My husband of 12 years, the struggling real estate agent who complained about our mortgage payments, had $7 million in cryptocurrency that he'd hidden from me. But that wasn't even the most devastating part. The transactions I'd traced revealed something far worse, something that shattered my entire reality in an instant. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely click through the blockchain explorer as the truth unfolded before my eyes. Mark had been secretly supporting another family in Colorado for the past 5 years. Another woman, 2 children, a whole separate life funded through untraceable crypto transactions that he thought I'd never discover. The timestamp of the latest transaction was just 3 days ago, my wedding anniversary, while I'd been at home alone with a bottle of wine and takeout, believing he was stuck at a client emergency. He'd transferred another substantial amount to his secret family. The bitter irony burned through me like acid. The carefully planned anniversary gift I'd bought him, an expensive watch I'd saved for months to afford, was still wrapped in silver paper on our dresser. I'd planned to give it to him when he got home from his emergency. Now I realized he'd probably been video chatting with his other children, maybe even exchanging gifts with his other wife. Let me take you back to how this nightmare began, because what I uncovered through these digital breadcrumbs changed everything, and the way I got my revenge was even more satisfying than I could have imagined. My name is Rebecca, and until 3 months ago I thought I had a normal, if somewhat financially strained marriage. I'm a CPA specializing in tax compliance. Ironic, I know, considering what I discovered. Mark and I lived in a modest 3-bedroom home in Sacramento that we struggled to afford. Or so I thought. Business is slow, he'd tell me nearly every month when I'd stress about our savings dwindling. The market's competitive. Everyone's becoming a real estate agent these days. For years I believed him. I picked up extra clients during tax season to make ends meet. I clipped coupons and drove a 10-year-old car while he insisted on leasing a new BMW for his image with clients. It's a business expense, he'd say. No one trusts a real estate agent in a beater. I trusted him completely. That's what makes what I'm about to tell you even more sickening. It all started on April 15th, tax day of all days. I'd been working 16-hour days for weeks, and I needed to find our property tax statement for a last-minute client. Mark was out showing houses, so I went into his home office to check his filing cabinet. That's when I noticed something odd about his desk. The bottom drawer had a false bottom, not completely flush with the sides. I might never have noticed if a corner of paper hadn't been sticking out just slightly. When I pulled up the fake panel, my heart stopped. There was a small notebook with what looked like random words written in Mark's handwriting. Having worked with a few crypto investors during tax season, I immediately recognized what I was looking at: a seed phrase. 12 random words that served as the master key to a cryptocurrency wallet. Wagon, turtle, machine, kingdom, flower, ocean, dinner, witness, thunder, canvas, major, pioneer. I remember staring at those words, a cold feeling settling in my stomach. Why would Mark have a crypto seed phrase hidden in a secret compartment? We had joint accounts for everything, or so I thought. We'd talked about investing in Bitcoin years ago, but he dismissed it as too risky and probably a scam. Yet here was proof he'd been involved in crypto, secretly, behind my back. You know that feeling when something doesn't add up, and your mind starts racing through all the possibilities? That's where I was. But even in my wildest thoughts, I couldn't have imagined what I was about to discover. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I photographed the seed phrase, carefully replaced everything exactly as I'd found it, and waited until the next day when Mark said he was meeting clients in Folsom. A solid 2-hour commitment. As soon as his car left the driveway, I went to work. I downloaded a wallet app that accepted seed phrases, carefully entered the 12 words, and held my breath as the wallet loaded. The balance that appeared on my screen nearly made me fall out of my chair. 168.5 Bitcoin. At that day's exchange rate, that was over $7 million. $7 million. My husband, who complained about my $120 haircuts and drove the same route to work to save gas, had secretly amassed a crypto fortune. But why hide it? Tax evasion was my first thought. That's my professional brain kicking in. But as I started digging through the transaction history, I realized this was something far more sinister. The blockchain doesn't lie. That's the thing about cryptocurrency that most people don't understand. Yes, it can be anonymous if you're careful, but it's also a permanent, unchangeable record of every transaction ever made. And Mark hadn't been nearly as careful as he thought. But here's where things get really interesting. I noticed a pattern in the outgoing transactions. Every month for the past 5 years, there had been transfers of exactly 1.5 Bitcoin to the same wallet address. That's approximately $60,000 per month at current values. The regularity of it was suspicious. This wasn't trading or investing. This was an allowance, a payment. But to whom? I'm not a blockchain forensics expert, but I'm a quick learner. I spent the next 3 days tracing transactions, following the money through various wallets and exchanges. Mark came home each night to find me, working late on client taxes, completely unaware that I was unraveling his secret life, one transaction at a time. What I discovered next made me physically ill. Some of the Bitcoin had been converted to cash through an exchange that had KYC, Know Your Customer, records. While I couldn't access those records directly, I found something even more damning. Some of the funds had been used to make payments to a property management company in Denver, Colorado. A quick social media search of that company revealed photos of their properties, including a stunning mountain view home that had been rented to a lovely family, according to the comments. And there he was, in the background of one photo, barely visible but unmistakable. Mark, my husband, standing on a deck with his arm around a blonde woman I'd never seen before. There was a hashtag, family move-in. My hands were shaking so badly I had to step away from the computer. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. When I could breathe again, I went back and kept digging. Remember, everything leaves a digital footprint these days. With the property management company's name and the address I'd found through their tagged locations, I did what any desperate, betrayed wife would do. I searched public records. That's when I found the birth certificates. 2 children, a boy and a girl, ages 4 and 2, both listing Mark Williams as the father. My Mark, my husband. But wait, it gets worse. The mother's name was listed as Vanessa Williams. He had married her. My husband had a second wife, which meant he was committing felony bigamy on top of everything else. I bet you're wondering what I did next. Did I call him screaming? Did I pack my bags and leave? Did I go to the police? No. I did something much more calculated. Because if there's one thing you should know about accountants, we're methodical. We understand systems and how to work within them. And more importantly, we know exactly how to make those systems work against someone who's broken the rules. First, I documented everything. I took screenshots, recorded transaction IDs, saved wallet addresses. I created a complete record of the money flow from his hidden Bitcoin wallet to his second family. I printed property records, birth certificates, and social media posts, anything that connected him to this secret life. Then, I called in a sick day and made an appointment with the best divorce attorney in Sacramento. I brought my documentation, explained the situation, and watched as her eyes widened with each new detail. "This is unprecedented," she said. "With this evidence, we can nail him to the wall." But I wanted more than just a favorable divorce settlement. What Mark was doing wasn't just betrayal, it was criminal. tax evasion, bigamy, possibly money laundering, depending on where this Bitcoin came from in the first place. And that's when I had another realization. The amounts didn't make sense for a real estate agent, even a successful one. No way Mark had earned enough to accumulate $7 million in crypto through legitimate commissions. There had to be another source. I dug deeper into the blockchain, following the incoming transactions this time. And that's when I found the connection that made everything click. The largest deposits into Mark's wallet came from addresses that had been flagged on cryptocurrency forums as being connected to ransomware payments. My husband wasn't just a liar and a cheater. He was potentially involved in cybercrime. This was bigger than I had imagined, but I still needed one more piece of the puzzle before confronting him. I needed to understand the full scope of his deception. You won't believe what I discovered next. While following the transaction trail, I found another wallet connected to Mark's main account, but with a different pattern of use. This one showed regular payments to an LLC registered in Wyoming. A little corporate record searching revealed that the LLC owned a property in Lake Tahoe, a $4 million lakefront cabin, a vacation property he'd never once mentioned in 12 years of marriage. At this point, I felt like I was living in some bizarre crime drama. Who was this man I had married? The Mark I knew clipped coupons and complained about the heating bill. The Mark Thurman was discovering lived a life of luxury with another family and owned secret properties. I decided it was time for the confrontation, but I wanted to be smart about it. I had my lawyer draft up divorce papers. I contacted the IRS and the FBI about the suspicious cryptocurrency activities, careful to position myself as an innocent spouse. I moved half of our joint savings into an account only I could access, which was completely legal as a married person. Then I waited for the perfect moment. It came 3 weeks after my initial discovery. Mark announced he had a real estate conference in San Diego for the weekend. I knew exactly where he was going. The flight I'd found in his email confirmation wasn't to San Diego. It was to Denver. "Before you go," I said casually that morning as he packed, "could you help me with something on the computer? I'm trying to understand cryptocurrency for a client." The color drained from his face. "I don't know much about that," he said, his voice tight. "Really? That's strange, because you seem to know enough to amass 168 Bitcoin. I turned my laptop toward him, showing his wallet balance on the screen. He froze. Actually froze in place like a statue. Then came the expected denials. "I don't know what you're talking about. That's not mine. You're confused." I calmly laid out the evidence piece by piece. The seed phrase I'd found, the transactions I'd traced, the property in Denver, the cabin in Tahoe, his second wife, his 2 children. "Their birthdays are May 17th and August 3rd, I said, watching his face crumple as he realized the depth of my knowledge. "Vanessa likes to post milestone photos on Instagram. Your daughter just started ballet classes. Your son is obsessed with dinosaurs." He collapsed into a chair, his face in his hands. "How did you figure all this out?" "I followed the money, Mark. The blockchain doesn't lie, and neither do public records." That's when I slid the divorce papers across the table. "You have 2 options. Sign these and give me what I'm asking for, or I send everything I've found to the IRS, the FBI, and the district attorney. Everything, including the connections to those ransomware payments." His head snapped up. "You wouldn't. 3 days ago, I set up a dead man switch. If I don't enter a passcode every 24 hours, all the evidence automatically goes to the authorities. So even if you're thinking of doing something stupid right now, it won't help you." That was a bluff, but he believed it. I could see it in his eyes. "What do you want?" he whispered. "The Lake Tahoe property transferred to my name, half of the Bitcoin, 84 coins, and a signed confession about your involvement in the ransomware scheme, which I'll keep as insurance unless you ever try to contact me again. And Vanessa, the kids, I'll be calling her next, She deserves to know she's not legally married to you. What happens after that is between you two, but the authorities will definitely be interested in the crypto if you don't agree to my terms." He signed everything, every document, the property transfer, the Bitcoin transfer, the confession. His hands shook the entire time. As promised, I called Vanessa that night. That conversation was intense. She had no idea Mark was married to me, no idea about the criminal connections, no idea her entire life was built on lies. I felt a strange solidarity with this woman I'd never met. We'd both been deceived by the same man. 3 months have passed since then. The divorce is finalized. I own a beautiful cabin in Tahoe, which I've already put on the market. My crypto holdings have set me up for financial independence. Mark? Last I heard, he's under federal investigation. Vanessa took the kids and moved back to her parents' home in Michigan. Sometimes I still wake up in the middle of the night, wondering how I missed the signs for so long. How did I not know I was living with a stranger? But then I remind myself, skilled liars can fool anyone. The difference is in how you respond once you discover the truth. So what would you do if you discovered your partner had a secret life? Would you follow the money like I did? Would you confront them immediately? Or plan your response like I did? Let me know in the comments, because I'm still trying to process this whole experience. And remember, in today's digital world, the truth is always out there, recorded in electronic systems, social media posts, and yes, even the blockchain. No secret stays hidden forever, especially from someone who knows where to look. I never expected my accounting skills would uncover a double life, but I'm grateful I had them when it mattered most. Today, I'm rebuilding my life on my terms. And for the first time in years, every aspect of my financial reality is actually real. That reminds me of another detail that still gives me satisfaction. 2 days after our confrontation, before he left for good, Mark asked me how I'd managed to access his wallet when the seed phrase had been so well hidden. I smiled and said, "You might be good at hiding physical things, but you're terrible at hiding your reaction when something's out of place. I noticed months ago that you always check that drawer when you thought I wasn't looking." After that, it was just a matter of time before I figured out why. His face fell. A simple human tell had been his undoing. That, and underestimating his accountant wife. The morning he moved out, I found a note on the kitchen counter. All it said was, "I never meant to hurt you. It started as a small lie and snowballed. I'm sorry. Too little, too late." If there's one lesson in all of this, it's that the truth doesn't care about intentions or excuses. In the blockchain of life, every action is recorded, immutable, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows how to read the ledger. And I'm very, very good at reading ledgers.